you obviously spent a long time working with the royal family, but you have met Harry and worked with Harry. He's generally changed, but what was Harry like when you were on foreign tours with him? Like maybe before Meghan, what was he like to report on?
He was fantastic to report on. I mean, one of the things about Harry is he has no filter. So you always saw authentic Harry, which was fantastic. And he was also unpredictable. I mean, one of my favourite days of royal reporting was in Jamaica in the tour in 2012, I believe, when Harry was at a racetrack with Usain Bolt and sort of basically cheated and beat him in the 50-yard dash. It was a fantastic, I think, unscripted moment. Certainly it took Usain Bolt by surprise. So that was great. But Harry was also always incredibly authentic. And he'd take you to places that you wouldn't normally go on a royal tour. I remember in Brazil, we went to this basically drug den, this area called Cracolândia, which is inhabited by drug addicts and dealers and so on. And Harry wanted to go there to shine a light on what these charities were doing to help these people. And there was a lot of debate behind the scenes when they were drawing up the itinerary for this visit, whether they should go there, but Harry wanted to go there. So he took you places you wouldn't normally go. He was amazing in some ways. And the other thing I remember about Harry was I was in Colorado Springs when he first saw this American thing called the Warrior Games for injured, sort of Olympic-style games for injured servicemen. And he nicked that idea. And it became the Invictus Games and it went international and was Harry's single greatest achievement. But in that weekend, he might have had the idea buzzing around in his head, back of his head, but he saw these games, he was incredibly impressed and said to his team by the end of the weekend, "I'm going to do this." And then he made a speech. So in public, he said, "I'm going to do this, we're going to take it to London, we're going to do it next year." And his team were kind of reeling because they thought, what are we going to do within the next 12 months? What are you talking about? But driven by Harry's energy and vision and enthusiasm, they achieved the impossible.
So seeing as Harry's raised this idea that you might come back, we discussed about the 2020 Sandringham Agreement where a hybrid rule, as you say, with the Queen completely ruled out. 4 years on, Harry's brought this subject up, so we can talk about it, but 4 years on, do you think that is it possible the palace missed a trick and that there could have been a hybrid role, or that they could find something for him? Because, as you say, he was an asset for the royal family at the time, and he could have brought maybe, new perspectives to post-Brexit Britain or to the Commonwealth, or to during COVID times he could have helped out. Is it a missed opportunity?
I think your phrase about new perspectives is very interesting, because I think both Harry and Meghan, before they left, before it all went wrong, I felt about both of them, and I even wrote this, that they bring a fresh perspective and a fresh approach to the royal family. The hybrid thing, I don't think the royal family necessarily missed a trick, but it's possible they could have explored other ways of being hybrid. In other words, if they put sort of constraints on what Harry and Meghan did in their private time, saying, well, if you did this sort of business, we don't think that would impinge too badly on the royal family, so we can see a world in which you spend 9 months of the year doing that sort of thing and 3 months doing royal thing. So did they explore that? I don't know. But I think where they missed a trick, the royal family, and particularly the advisors, I think they're all pretty guilty on this, is they didn't see it coming. They didn't see Harry and Meghan's unhappiness. I mean, Harry's unhappiness had been building up for some time, crucially, even before Meghan showed up. They didn't see the unhappiness. It was there, if you're in on the inside, it was there plain to see about 12 months before Brexit. The famous occasion when Harry and Meghan went to the Albert Hall and she was feeling suicidal. So the signs were there to see, and it wouldn't have changed the outcome. I think Harry and Meghan might still have left, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I think being born into the royal family doesn't have to be a life sentence. But if it had been spotted earlier, it could have been done so much more amicably. It's the difference between a bitter, painful divorce where the lawyers get involved and it's horrible, and an amicable divorce where you remain friends afterwards. And it could have been done so much better. All the pain and the recrimination and these ghastly salvos from across the Atlantic, all that might have been avoided if they'd spotted the signs earlier and spoken to them.
What about Meghan then? So Harry has been back on his own several times without Meghan. Could there be a role back? Could there be a role for the Duchess of Sussex, or has too much happened? I know you touched very heavily in courtiers about the bullying allegations. As I say, there are new staff now. There are long memories. Could there be a way, if Harry did, open up a little avenue there? Could you ever see Meghan coming back and wanting to do any royal duty?
I think it's vanishingly unlikely. I mean, she's made it clear what she thinks of the institution. She's not coming back. Her focus is 100% on the United States and that platform and what that gives her. I just can't see it in any way whatsoever.
So when she was here, when you were reporting on her before Meg's here, obviously, did she show, do you think that she got stuck in, gave it enough time, showed a lot of interest in wanting to be a working royal?
I think she got stuck in. And what was amazing that on the day their engagement was announced, she gave that interview, a television interview, and she was talking about wanting to take on Commonwealth roles. So basically, she'd been well briefed, and she was perfectly happy to spout her brief on air about what the future might be for her. And she did some very interesting things. I mean, the enthusiasm with which she embraced the Grenfell Community Kitchen and suggested them they make a cookbook, which was amazingly, and of course, flew off the shelves all around the world. She brought a lot of energy and fresh approach to the whole royal thing. But I also know that for all the great potential she showed, that if you talk to people on the inside, they believe, rightly or wrongly, but they believe that she was constantly casting herself as a victim, saying, "You don't want me. You think I'm going to fail. You think it's not. I'm not welcome, really." And it's as if they believe it's as if she was looking for a way out from the very beginning.
From the very beginning.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, what was she like to? You've been on tours with Duchess of Sussex as well. Was there a change when Harry and Meghan started, working and going on engagements together? What was she like? What was Harry like when they were together?
Well, there are two things I remember. One from the Australian tour, which is Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, and Tonga. And when we went to Fiji, I believe it was, there was a welcome ceremony, which was, if I'm being honest, and I apologise to anyone from Fiji who's watching, it was quite long and boring. And then about a day or two later, we went to a different part of Fiji, and there was another welcome ceremony, which involved them sitting on two thrones in front of a sort of invited audience. And that was even longer and even more boring. And Harry was hacked off with the press. He was annoyed with us for some reason. There are many reasons why Harry might be annoyed with us. And he spent the entire hour and a bit of this occasion just looking slightly over to one side where we were sitting, we, the media, and just staring daggers at us. He was furious. He couldn't hide. Like I said, what I said earlier about this, that Harry has no filter. He couldn't hide his fury. Meghan was sitting bolt upright in her throne on stage, and kept a perfect Hollywood smile on throughout, perfect posture throughout. She was absolutely brilliant performance, and I thought she is a real professional.